This place is absolutely amazing. I am in ancient Ephesus in modern day Turkey in the western Anatolia area. Paul spent 2 years of his missionary life. It was his third missionary trip. He planted this church. He labored here anywhere from 2 to 3 years, and eventually Timothy, who was his associate, became the head pastor here in Ephesus. Paul wrote from Ephesus, and he also wrote to Ephesus when he was incarcerated in Rome in his first incarceration in house arrest. He wrote to the Ephesian church, he wrote to the Colossian church, he wrote Philemon, and he wrote Philippians, all while under house arrest in Rome. But no more the depth and the doctrine of salvation, the doctrine of application of how to function in the church, and the depth of spiritual warfare and life of prayer than we have in the book of Ephesians. But right here behind me in this great Colosseum that held up to 25 or 30,000 people, we have where Paul's life was threatened. We have the Acts 19 account, and I encourage you to read through it. There's some amazing history. And Paul goes on and he says, have you received the Holy Spirit since you first believed? He ran into some believers here in Ephesus. Have you received the Holy Spirit since you first believed? And they said, no, we've not. We've been baptized in John's baptism. So he goes on and he leads them into the baptism of the Holy Spirit. And then, as was Paul's tradition, he went to the Jewish synagogue to preach the word. And it says that they rejected Paul, and they began, and through their stubborn and unbelief ways, they began to speak evil of Paul and of the way, it says. So Paul turned to the hall of Tyrannus. Very interesting. He preached there for 2 years in the hall of Tyrannus. And it says, I love this, all the residents of Asia heard the word of the Lord, both the Jews and the Greek. So Paul's ministry was so effective and had such an impact here that all the residents of Asia heard the gospel that Paul was preaching.